Hey everybody, Robert Preston Jr. here with DouglasNow.com. Live here after the Coffee Hive versus Salem football game tonight. Coffee Trojans versus the Salem Seminoles played at Jardine Stadium. Got over with, maybe an hour or so ago. The Trojans won 64-8 over Salem. And they played a nearly flawless ball game with the exception of 2 possessions. Our first possession, we went 3 and out, did not move the ball, actually lost yardage. Then on Salem's first possession, they completed a 53-yard touchdown pass to Xavier Utsi. Went for 2 points, oddly enough. Went for a 2-point conversion right off the bat and got it. And in just a few seconds after the game started, the Seminoles were up 8-0. Their lead would be short-lived, and they would quickly lose control of this ball game as in the ensuing possessions, the Trojans took charge, exerted their dominance maybe over the Seminoles, and rolled to what is the largest point total I have ever seen. I was looking this up, and I don't know how far back. I know how far back the records go, but I haven't looked to see what the biggest point totals are. I didn't take the time to look that up tonight. I want to go ahead and give you guys a report. The most points that I remember Coffee scoring is back when Jerry Odom was here. We played the Johnson-Adams Smashers, Johnson out of Savannah. Not a very strong football program. Not a lot of strong football programs over in Savannah. At least there weren't back then. And I believe we were playing Johnson at home during homecoming, or for the homecoming game, and we beat them, I think, 60-0. So this is not the greatest margin of victory. I have seen a 60-point margin of victory before, but this was the most points that we've ever scored, and we led 50-8 at halftime. So this game was way out of hand early. The wonderful thing about that is we had a running clock in the second half. So the second half literally took 24 minutes. Once that clock starts with a running clock, it does not stop for penalties, timeouts, anything like that. So let's go over the score and summary. After that bad first possession, we got on the board pretty quickly. We scored on our next possession. Quarterback A.J. Wilkerson scored on a 1-yard run. A 19-yard run by Norris Turner set that score up. So Turner almost got in the end zone, got stopped at the 1-yard line. Then Wilkerson ran a keeper and got in for a 1-yard score, made it 8-7. Again, Salem still had the lead at that point. Next possession, Turner set up another score with a 33-yard run, got it to the 1. We lost 2 yards on the next play, put the ball at the 3-yard line. I was sitting in the south end, in the north end zone. The touchdown happened in the south end zone. I'm not sure if it was number 2 or number 3 who scored. If anybody knows, let me know. But number 2 was Jamal Polk. Number 3 was Turner again. So one of those 2 scored on a 3-yard run after Turner had another big run, 33-yard run to get us down there with 1st and goal. Next possession, Wilkerson found Jalen Suggs on a 32-yard pass to make it 21-8 Coffee. Then Antonio Dawson, little running back, who I believe sat out last week, scored on a 23-yard run. We went for 2 this time. Jamal Polk got the 2-point conversion, made it 29-8 at the end of the first quarter. Wilkerson threw another touchdown pass to Suggs on the next possession, 66-yard pass this time, made it 36-8 Coffee. KJ Davis scored on a 22-yard pass from Wilkerson to make it 43-8. There was 7:16 left in the second quarter then. In the next possession, we tried a 43-yard field goal. Now, Noah Saylor's our kicker. Now, he was perfect on extra points tonight, and I haven't mentioned that yet, but I'm going to. Saylor is a junior. I was talking about that earlier with some of my family. I thought he was a junior. He also serves as our punter. He's number 97. Saylor's been waiting his turn for several years. He got a couple opportunities last year. Very, very good on extra points. We haven't had a kicker that we really felt comfortable with trying a field goal from 43 yards out in a while. And, of course, with a game like this, with us up 43-8, we got 4th down there on around the 24, 25-yard line, something like that, 26-yard line maybe. We ran Saylor out there to kick a field goal. His kick was dead on. I mean, it was right down the center of the uprights. Just didn't quite have enough leg. It fell in the end zone, at the very back of the end zone. Probably just missed it by a couple of yards. He kicked an extra point later on that looked like it had plenty of leg to get 43 yards. So our kicking game, after several years of being a little bit suspect, it looks like our kicking game is in really good shape. We haven't, I don't know how long it's been since we were perfect on extra points, not with this many scoring opportunities. We usually miss something somewhere, but we didn't tonight. Noah Saylor was lights out and just missed that 43-yard field goal. So as he kicks more and gets more used to being in that situation, I think we're going to see a lot of good things from him. Very, very optimistic about where our kicking game is. Here at the end of the second quarter, a 38-yard run by Zay Simpson. Now Zay was a backup quarterback. We pulled Wilkerson out at that point, put Simpson in. One play, ran a quarterback keeper, 38 yards, went in and out of the Seminole secondary, shook off a lot of tacklers, broke a lot of tackles, made it in to make the score 50-8 with 2 minutes and 4 seconds left in the second quarter. So we hung 50 points on the Seminoles in the first half. We came out in the third quarter and we scored with 5:55 left to go in that period. 20-yard run by A.J. Franklin. Extra point was good, made it 57-8. Then with 2:25 left in the game, backup quarterback Justin Swords came in. Swords is a sophomore. Prototypical quarterback. Absolutely, 6'5", tall, lean, cannon of an arm, great baseball player too, great pitcher. But Swords really is the quarterback of the future. He's been playing at the lower level last year, getting some reps this year. We're able to get him in the game and let him play a little bit. I want to say he played a little bit last year, but a lot of people really looking to Swords. Once Wilkerson hands the reins over, it looks like Swords and Simpson will be in a battle for it next year. But Swords is really the prototypical quarterback, a Keegan McGovern type, tall, long, lean with a cannon of an arm. He came in, completed a 40-yard touchdown pass to Javion Ingram, made it 64-8 with 2:25 left in the game. So that's how it ended tonight. Wilkerson finished the night with 1 touchdown run and 3 touchdown passes. On defense, we had a lot of great players, did a great job keeping the Seminoles off the scoreboard and keeping them in check. They had a little bit of trouble with their punting game. We backed them up deep quite a bit, and they couldn't get out of that hole with their punter. We started several possessions with a really short field. But I watched Arliss Sutton, unbelievable player, defensive end, number 40, just a junior. Arliss played lights out. Jace Risch played well. Cameron Arberson played well. The defensive line played well. Josiah Killebrew and that bunch. The defensive line is really experienced and really strong from end to end. They played a really strong game tonight. We had a couple of turnovers. We picked up a few fumbles, so we had a few takeaways as well. We won the turnover battle. We won everything tonight. Not a lot of penalties. Very clean game, and you tip your hat to the Seminoles. Coach Pruitt made a comment that he hated seeing us score that last touchdown. He said, I really wish we hadn't scored that. We were up by 49 points or something, and then we scored with 2:25 left. But you get kids in the game, and he made this comment in the post-game interview, and it's true. You get kids in the game who don't get a chance to play very often, certainly not at the varsity level, not in a game like this, and they want to score. When they get the ball in their hands, they don't want to take the snap and dive forward 3 or 4 yards and then punt. They don't want to do that. They want to get an opportunity to show what they can do. So it was good to see the young kids get in and get to see them make plays. Justin Swords really, a two-sport guy, baseball, football, and really has an opportunity to do something special in the coming years. So it was really neat to see that. So that's how we ended up tonight. We're 2-0 on the season. It's going to be a little while before we get into region play. Next week, Ware County here in Coffee. Ware won tonight. They lost last week. Ware's got a new head coach. But this game is always tough, and I don't want to throw out a cliche like you can throw the records out the window and do this stuff and do that stuff. Bottom line is, when Coffee and Ware play each other, it's a tough game. It always goes down to the wire. Both teams seem to elevate their game, and it's the way a rivalry game should be. A lot of emotion, a lot of intensity, a lot of hard hits, and you sort of have to watch the officials a little bit because every penalty means something. You get in a game like this tonight, if you have an offsides call, you have an encroachment call, you have something like that, it may not mean very much, but in a rivalry game, everything counts. Turnovers, penalties, they're all big. They can all affect the outcome of the game. There'll be a big crowd. Wasn't much of a crowd at the stadium tonight. Salem didn't travel very well, but Ware County is. It's going to be packed. And again, somebody's asking the final score, 64-8 tonight. Coffee wins, 64-8. Don't know if it's the most points we've ever scored, that the Trojans have ever scored. It's the most points I've ever seen us score previously. The most points we had scored that I'd seen was 60. We hung 60 on the Johnson Adams Smashers back when Jerry Odom was here during homecoming, I believe. So we have had a 60-point margin of victory. Tonight's margin of victory was 56 points, but it came on a night when we scored 64. So, it was a good game all the way around. Nobody got injured, and we really got to see some young kids play and get them in the game and give our starters a rest. You know how it gets when we get into the region. It's really tough, and we're a fairly young team, particularly on offense. Defense is pretty experienced, but we don't have a lot of size. And some of the teams we're going to play are big. Valdosta's big. Northside Warner Robins is big. Of course, Lee County's big. These guys are absolutely enormous. And so our guys are going to take a beating as we get on into the region. However, we've got a fantastic coaching staff, and they know how to plan and scheme to our strengths. And I think we're going to definitely be a team that you're going to have to look at. You can't count out when we get into the postseason. So that's the game tonight. 64-8, Trojans win over the Salem Seminoles. Next week, 7:30, Jardine Stadium. Coffee plays the Ware County Gators. Not a region game anymore. Hadn't been for several years, but it is absolutely going to be a fantastic ball game. Come out, check it out. Go Trojans. Way to go, Coach Pruitt, staff, players, cheerleaders, band, everybody. It was a fun night. A little bit hot. I don't like playing football when it's this hot. I would much rather be bundled up with a jacket and gloves than be out there fighting mosquitoes and everything else. Also saw my first love bugs today. Love bug season is here. That's going to be a lot of fun. Maybe Hurricane Dorian will blow those out. Of course, again, we do have the storm moving up, and we'll have to pay very close attention to the weather. We've had weather delay these games before. Coffee Ware have a little bit of a history with hurricanes. It can be a volatile weather weekend when the Gators and the Trojans play each other. So we'll be watching the weather closely and let you guys know. But if Dorian does not cause us a lot of problems next week, then we will play the Ware County Gators at 7:30 at Jardine Stadium. The Trojans are now 2-0 on the season. 64-8 tonight, again, over the Salem Seminoles. Thank you guys for watching. Let's hope we have a quiet weekend. Maybe you won't see my face again until sometime next week, but if there is any breaking news, we will bring it to you this weekend. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Y'all have a good night and a great weekend.